Welcome to a special edition RnBe.
Yes, welcome.
This one's going to be handled much like a Liscussion, which is a series that Rob, me, and Natalie do over on our other channel, Eligible Monster, where we talk about gaming topics. But right now, when you're watching this, Rob and I are currently in Seattle at Emerald City Comic Con.
So am I.
So is Gary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay, okay, cool. I'm like, we're not in Seattle right now.
No, not right when
and
they're watching this.
Everyone knows it. Just telling a bold-faced lie to your audience.
There's this place in Seattle that looks exactly like our studio.
Yes. Yeah, we rented it. It's amazing.
So what we're doing today is we're doing more of a filler episode of RnBe by making it a Liscussion. And I've got a list of the 20 most ridiculous what-if stories made up by Marvel. Okay?
Okay.
We're going to probably, knowing Romp, get through maybe 10 of them. But we'll see.
I mean, that's probably true.
Even with the full hour normal episode, I don't think we would get through all 20.
Yeah, that's probably true. I can guarantee that.
So these are what ifs that Marvel actually did.
They did that.
Yeah.
They did that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you're wondering, Gary is our camera guy. Because of the demand of #GaryFacts, Gary gets to be on camera once in a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
Plus, he's holding me at
fun.
gunpoint underneath the table right now.
Yeah. That's where his hand is. There's a shotgun under there.
So we
Cut.
Number 1. What if Iron Man was trapped in the time of King Arthur?
I never read that one.
I'm going to assume you probably haven't read many of these.
Yeah, probably.
Tony Stark or Iron Man?
Iron Man. In mainstream
Suit and
continuity,
everything, okay.
Iron Man and Doctor Doom took a trip back to the Arthurian age. So it was the premise of what if Iron Man was trapped in the time of King Arthur.
Premise.
I got it.
Premise.
I like
Premise.
premise.
Premise is better.
Yeah.
It was the premise.
Don't worry, we're going to be talking about a documentary real soon.
Yes.
Side note,
right.
a buddy who watches these episodes, he's a good friend of mine in real life, like I hang out with him and stuff, and he shot me a message asking if I could do a documentary. He spelled it documentary for him the way I say it, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't catch that, and I started talking to him like, what do you want me to do a doc about? We can talk about doing it. And then I'm like, I saw the spelling, and I was, oh, you fucker.
Yeah, just giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Tony Stark is sand in the bass, and he gets to take on Morgan Le Fay. I feel like this universe has been revisited a couple times in Marvel.
The one where they fight Morgan Le Fay?
Well, like in what's that?
Oh no!
Like Original Sin, doesn't he? Not Original Sin. Age of Ultron. Wolverine goes through a time where that's happening.
Yes, and Morgan Le Fay conquered the rest of the world. Now, that, if I remember correctly, that is a what if based on a story where it explains the origin of Morgan Le Fay as the sister somehow related to King Arthur. I can't remember, but it was her and somebody else who who took off from King Arthur. Yeah, I don't know. It gets weird. Arthurian legend in Marvel Comics is kind of crazy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? Would you read a book about Iron Man in the King Arthur times?
Yeah,
he apparently has his suit too.
Okay.
So,
yeah. I absolutely would read that. I think there's no competition unless he's literally going up against magic.
Yeah, he is. Morgan Le Fay. Yeah.
Okay.
Morgan Le Fay,
I know who
Merlin.
Morgan Le Fay is, but
do you think he can pull the sword out of the stone?
No.
Oh, he just blow the stone apart. I got the sword.
I'm not a kid.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, I would read that. I think that'd be really cool. There we go.
Would you read it?
Maybe. Depends on how I felt. Yeah.
All right. Well, here's the next one. What if Spider-Man's parents destroyed his family? So the premise of this one.
Premise.
I got premise of this one. Premise of this one was Chameleon, of all people, used robotic duplicates to trick Spidey into thinking that his parents were alive. In this version of the events, the evil robots discovered Spider-Man's secret identity, show up at his house, and they murder Aunt May and Mary Jane.
That's actually kind of a cool idea. It's almost like Old Man Logan before Old Man Logan on a smaller scale.
I also want to show you the cover to this one. And I'd like to know, and we can't show it to the Twitch audience who's watching this being filmed live, but we will show it on screen for the YouTube audience. Mm-hmm. At what point has Mary Jane had an itty-bitty waist and like breasts so large that she could float to the moon?
When a girl walks in with an itty-bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung. Yeah, no, that's, well, I mean, okay, but the one thing...
She's very well endowed in this one.
The one thing to keep in mind, what if stories were usually like a proving ground? Mm-hmm. So Marvel would take like writers and artists they wanted to test out, and they would throw them into what if stories.
Okay.
But this was also looks like it was made in like the late
it.
80s or early 90s, and it was all about big boobs and tiny waists back then.
Oh, yeah, definitely were.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one. So, because I mean, there's not much of a universe for that one where his family got killed, so you can't really say if you'd read that.
Yeah.
But would you read a universe in which Wolverine was the Lord of the Vampires?
Yes. I remember you telling me about that one. I haven't read it
absolutely.
yet.
I haven't read that one. I told you a story about where Batman's Lord of the Vampires.
Oh, that's what
I didn't even
that
know
is.
about Wolverine.
So he actually is a vampire? Or
Apparently,
he's just the
he-
Lord of the Vampires.
He's the Lord of the Vampires.
Dracula attempted
like-
to turn Storm into a vampire, and in What If Wolverine was the Lord of the Vampires, sees him succeed. Storm then manages to turn the rest of the X-Men into vampires, but Wolverine's healing factor allows him to maintain self-control, kill Dracula, and become the ultimate vampire king. That sounds like an amazing story.
It's pretty badass.
That's overpowered.
Yeah.
Like
Wolverine
that's-
is Dracula.
Wolverine.
Wow. Okay, I'm calling that story.
You're gonna go do it after this?
Yeah, I gotta go do that story now. You did Batman, Lord of the Vampires. I get to do Wolverine.
Okay, I'll give you Wolverine, Lord of the Vampires.
Speaking of Wolverine, have you read? Well, we'll talk about it at lunch. But yeah.
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 What if Captain America had led an army of super soldiers in World War II?
Oh, I read the title of that one. I've never read that one before.
The idea of this is Cap saved the scientists who created the super soldier serum, thus allowing America to dominate World War II with a bevy of captain-level soldiers. After the war, the original Captain America becomes president on a platform that included granting the super soldier serum to every citizen.
Wow.
Wow.
Vote me in, and you all get superpowers.
Did you know that Captain America was originally designed to destroy mutants?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh my God!
Actually, I didn't.
Yeah.
Second paragraph. Once in power, however, Captain America decides to limit this to just white Americans. When the minorities
No
resist,
way.
when minorities
When was
resist,
this written?
1970 something.
Seriously.
when the minorities resist, Cap throws them into detention camps, and his super soldiers go around stomping out any resistance, including most other superheroes.
That
So
went
Captain
down-
America
wow.
becomes a super soldier Hitler.
So
is what you're
in the
telling
end,
me.
basically-
oh my God! In the end, it turns out that this version of Cap was actually Red Skull all along.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But I was
Now-
going to say, that
now-
doesn't sound like Captain America to me.
Here's what happened.
Yeah.
Somebody went to Marvel with a pitch for that story, and they're like, "Are you out of your fucking mind? Like,
You
okay,
have to fix this.
You have to fix
Yes.
this." And he's like, "Okay,
Yeah.
we'll make him the Red Skull. That's better. But it can't be really Cap, who's throwing
No.
folks in concentration camps and
Powering
starting-
up white Americans.
powering up white
Seriously.
Americans with a super soldier serum."
Oh my God! I feel like I want to cover this story, but I feel like if I do, I'll feel dirty.
Oh man,
Seriously.
Yeah, I'm not
bad.
going to touch it. That's
You need to do it. You need to do
No,
it.
I'm not covering that story.
You need to do it. Captain America takes black folks into prison.
Dude, okay, the clickbait story for that is Captain America becomes Hitler. That shit would get demonetized so fast and it'd never get monetized again. YouTube would probably just like make it that a community guidelines strike. Crush that video. No way. I'm not
Okay.
doing that.
Okay.
What if Thanos joined the Avengers?
That is a Infinity
Yeah.
thing, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that was
Thanos
cool.
joins the Earth's forces against the Builders rather than use the conflict as an opportunity to take over Earth.
Mm-hmm.
With his aid, they make short work of the Builders, but his intervention comes at a cost. The world soon finds itself under the boot heel of a tyrant wearing the colors of his former protectors.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound that
Yeah, no, the Infinity what ifs were never really that great. The
Yeah.
Age of Ultron what ifs were kind of great. In fact, there was one where Hank Pym becomes Ultron, like he finds out he's an Ultron robot, which set the stage for Rage of Ultron.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were okay.
Yeah.
What if the Watcher had killed Galactus?
I don't know who that is.
In a short tale,
wanna say I
Utah.
read
How's
that.
it? It's Utah, right?
Well, it wasn't originally,
Pronunciation of
it's Uatu.
Uatu, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Watcher really bungles his vow of non-intervention by straight up killing Galactus when he tries to consume Earth. This results in all of the other Watchers showing up to imprison Uatu for his crimes. The Fantastic Four try to rescue him, but in the end, he accepts his punishment. And in a cruel twist, he is condemned to become the new Galactus, restoring the cosmic balance by traveling around munching on planets.
Wow.
That sounds awesome.
That does sound awesome.
Yeah.
But could you imagine that punishment?
Big-
You kill
big
them for killing
jawbreakers.
planets. Like you kill someone because they're going to munch on a planet, and you become the muncher.
Well, okay, but see,
Is that my new name?
The muncher.
The muncher.
Gary the muncher.
okay, but I'm pretty sure that story came. Okay, so there was a story that Marvel wrote called The Trial
okay.
of Reed Richards.
Yeah.
And the idea was that Reed Richards had a chance to destroy Galactus using the Ultimate Nullifier, which is a weapon that can destroy anything in
Okay.
existence.
Yeah.
And so because Reed let Galactus live, he was put on trial by like an intergalactic group. And what ended up happening is like Eternity, the living embodiment of the universe, showed up and said like Galactus is a necessity.
Right.
And that's where you started learning about things like Galactus appears to races based on what those races are. So like if Galactus shows up to Earth, he'll look human. But if he shows up to the Skrulls, he'll look Skrull. Like it's just his
Okay.
physical appearance changes.
Right.
It's actually kind of cool. Yeah, it's a pretty cool story.
I've heard of that kind of. Anyway.
Yeah.
I've heard of
So,
that.
apparently, as a way to combat Star Wars when the first movie came out, they came up with what if Sergeant Fury had fought World War II in outer space? It's a story about him going to space with Howling Commandos, and he just fights annoying robots and information dispensing computers.
In order to combat Star Wars.
It came out around Star Wars when the Star Wars movie came out. Just send him into space.
That's not very interesting to me.
Yeah, it's not very
actually,
interesting.
no.
I think it's the reason why we never heard about it before.
Now, if
Yeah.
we're talking about Space Punisher, that story is balls ass amazing.
How about Venom Punisher? Because what if the Venom had possessed Punisher?
I want to say I've read that.
Instead of Eddie Brock, Frank Castle is present at the church where Spider-Man ditches the symbiote suit, leading to the Punisher gaining the powers of Venom. The new Venom Punisher makes short work of the criminal underground, killing characters like Kingpin and Tombstone, before the symbiote begins to exert too much control. But the iron will of Frank Castle wins out in the end. However, the story finishes with him asserting himself over the symbiote and continuing his superpowered war on crime. That kind of sounds cool. I think I would like that if that happened.
There's one story called What Happened If the Punisher's Family Lived. That one's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't become the Punisher. I mean, really. I mean,
He
really?
he ends up like he stays a regular street cop.
Okay.
And then he's actually a pretty solid cop, but then he starts ratting on cops who are crooked. And so they kill his family anyway. And then he becomes a Punisher. Yeah. His family always dies, man. Yeah.
The next one is what if Spider-Man continued to mutate? Now, I feel like this story has actually been tackled in
Yeah,
proper
it has.
continuity.
It
Yeah,
has,
he becomes
yeah.
like a big spider.
Oh no, that was
but
when
in
that was
this
when he got the
timeline-
powers of the other. That was weird.
No. In actual continuity, he
Yeah.
mutated with 6 arm. Remember the whole 6-arm Spider-Man?
It's like a risk of being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Just
No. That was
occasionally,
Infinity
right?
War.
No. There's like a 1980s plot line where
Yeah.
he grew 6 arms, and Morbius had to help him get rid of it, and he turned into a giant spider.
Yeah. He,
Oh, did he?
became a giant spider, lost his identity. Like,
Yeah.
He didn't even know who he was anymore.
Yeah, he was just a giant
Yeah.
monster spider.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's like classic Spider-Man.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I remember when I was a kid, I
was in the
really liked
cartoon.
6-arm Spider-Man for some reason. I don't know
yeah.
why. Like I was collecting 6-arm Spider-Man issues.
I know that they made Doppelganger in Infinity War because the Magus was making all these doppelgangers of existing heroes,
Right.
and they had to fight their own doppelgangers. That's where he came from.
Well, apparently in this what if storyline, he just continually transforms until he has a son who also has that same problem. And his son ends up killing Flash Thompson's son, which leads to Flash Thompson rallying a lynch mob to hunt down spider creatures. In the end, Peter takes on the mob in his spidery form and kills all of Flash's efforts while his son goes off to join Xavier's School for the Gifted.
Huh.
I don't like where that goes, but I think it's a great idea.
That's kind of messed up.
The
Yeah.
90s cartoon even explored that plot.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Where he got 6 arms and became a giant
Just a
monster.
big spider.
Oh, okay.
He
Yeah,
was
I don't-
literally
I don't
just.
Do you
a
not
big
watch
spider,
90s
yeah.
Spider-Man?
Oh, I did, but that's been so long, man.
Yeah.
I mean, really? You know what? 90s Spider-Man sucked. How about that? No, don't.
The animation was pretty terrible.
Like a
I
rock.
go back and look at it. The animation.
Yeah,
was
no,
pretty
the
awful.
anime.
It was pretty awful.
Yeah.
What is that? What if Dazzler became Galactus?
Who's that?
Dazzler was a Herald of Galactus at one point. She's a chick that can just make
Oh,
things
it's Harold.
bright.
Yeah, it's Harold.
She
Not,
what?
She's just think that can make things bright.
she's a disco mutant,
Yeah.
basically.
She makes bright lights. That's all. That's all she
She's
does.
horrified by her task of finding planets for Galactus to eat, but over time she develops feelings for the giant purple-clad devourer in an unlikely twist. Sometimes it seems seems like sometimes what if should be titled Why Not? So apparently she gets the hots for Galactus. She wants the big purple D.
Yeah, man, that D's like 3 times the size of her. So good luck, Dazzler. That damn thing will rip you in half, girl.
She needs to get out more.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
What if the Gamma Bomb had spawned 1,000 Hulks? I feel like that's also the Old Man Logan storyline, basically.
That's what that sounds like. Yeah.
The title is slightly inaccurate. The story just revolves around nuclear weapons dropped in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, spawning multiple. They took one of the most horrific acts of war and said it made Hulks.
Okay, that sounds like Planet Hulk from Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, okay, so there's a story where AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics, there's some weird terrorist group.
Right.
They decide they want to, they start launching strikes against the world or something like that, or against, I can't remember. Anyway, Amadeus Cho ends up, deactivating one of the bombs by, lacing it with gamma radiation or something like that, and it turns everyone in the world into Hulks. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Would you read how would you feel if you were Hulk?
I don't think I would like that very much.
You'd be like the nicest
idea-
Hulk ever.
I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be like a pretty kindly Hulk. Like, hey, can I help you with that?
Hulk Gary, help you with camera.
Yeah.
Hulk Gary break. Hulk Gary sad.
Hulk Gary. Just Hulk Gary. That's how I
Hulk Gary
refer
go
to
buy
myself.
you new camera.
Dum, dum, dum. Just walking out.
Hulk Gary swinging by Starbucks. Anybody want anything?
Yeah, dude. Give me like a vanilla bean
No,
frappuccino.
you're Hulk Rock. We're in a world.
Yeah. And now
vanilla frappuccino. Give Rob that.
Hulk Benny wants ice cold brew.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Or what's it?
Gary.
Americano?
Hulk Gary can't text to himself. Smashing camera.
Dude, that would be
Sad
hilarious. It would
again.
just be like a bunch of letters and numbers.
Well, I think we'd have like a Hulk-sized phone. It'd be like,
Hulk Gary, make this work.
All our phones are just made of like titanium. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be pretty amazing.
I would love to see that.
Hulk Gary, we going for lunch. You want to come? Okay, but Hulk Gary gluten free. So
They serve us something like,
So I'm like,
this have gluten.
I'm impervious to everything now except gluten still.
Yeah.
Like,
You have like an instantaneous
allergy.
healing
That's your
factor. You
weakness?
have like infinite strength, but he's got gluten. Yeah.
Such a picture. Like a village is like, here, have some gluten, Hulk.
throwing a slice of bread at me. No.
Yeah. Like,
Hulk Gary's scared of bread.
no, dude, you gotta feed it to him in a way that he likes. Like, hey, Hulk, don't you want like some muffins? It's like, oh, Gary, Hulk love muffins. You know, this have gluten. And then just start
Hulk
talking
Gary
about-
die.
Wait, no, even better.
Hulk Gary be on toilets all night.
That's more, yeah, it's a little more accurate.
Oh man. Jesus.
Okay. Hulk Gary is a thing now.
Hulk Gary
Gary.
is a thing now.
Hulk Gary. Oh man.
All right, so anyway, what if the Marvel superheroes had lost Atlantis attacks?
Oh, where Namor the Submariner invaded the entirety
Yeah,
of the Earth.
apparently in this alternate continuity,
Yeah.
Atlantis won because he was aided by a number of superhero brides. Wait, what? The victory of Set and the Atlanteans, aided by a number of superhuman brides Set was controlling, leaves most of the Marvel heroes either dead or turned into snake monsters.
Yeah, Set was like this older Egyptian villain. He was like Apocalypse before Apocalypse, and he's long since been forgotten. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
According to this, humanity ends up turning into mindless snake beasts.
I think it was Set. There was one old Egyptian villain. Somebody in the chat can correct me on that, but there was one older Egyptian villain. I can't remember his name. God in heaven.
Actual Egyptian,
picture-
like,
Yeah, he was
mythology?
really, really powerful. There was one point where he conquered the universe in like a what if story. I can't remember what he. I want to say it was Set, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
Apophis? I don't know.
No, it was.
I mean, that doesn't sound that. I don't think I'd read a continuation.
I don't
of
know.
that.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
I don't know.
What if Cable killed the X-Men? That sounds like a book that Marvel puts out every other year now. What if
that's what I
Deadpool
was gonna
killed
say.
the
That's-
X-Men?
There was a
normal,
story
right?
called the X Sanction where Cable crushes the Avengers and the X Men at the same time. Yeah, he wrecks them all. It's a really cool story.
This book leads to an all-out war between the X-Men and X-Force, which opens up an opportunity for Magneto to take over Washington, D.C. And in the second installment, it's called What If Magneto Took Over the U.S.? Ultimately, the Sentinels ended up dropping a nuke on Washington, killing almost every mutant, leaving just Wolverine and Iceman to pick up the... Why would Iceman survive?
Probably just encased himself in a giant block of
I
ice. don't know.
guess.
Apparently, ice doesn't melt when it comes to temperatures so hot that, they're as hot as the sun. I mean, I
Depends
don't
on
know.
how thick the ice is, you know.
Yeah.
Water's a great absorber of radiation, so I mean.
Okay, but like if we're talking about like a ground zero detonation, the core, like when a nuclear bomb's falling, it explodes over the ground, and you've got a point there where it's as hot as the sun, and it'll incinerate anything in existence. You're telling me Iceman could survive that?
I mean, was he? I don't know, dude. I don't know.
My God, Gary,
I don't know.
Do you not know how ice works?
come on, man.
It's just hard water.
Apparently, I don't know how comics works.
Yeah, ice.
Yeah.
Ice. Actually, I would not be surprised if there was a comic where Iceman did somehow survive that. I just made really thick ice.
Just super thick. Like,
Yeah.
really thick.
Really thick.
Like how thick? Just thick.
Just don't question it. Thick.
It's just super thick ice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ice molecules in the ice. They're densely packed. I don't know.
What if the original Marvel bullpen had become the Fantastic Four? This book stars Stan Lee as Mr. Fantastic and Jack Kirby, Flo Steinberg, and Sol Brodsky as the Fantastic Four.
Fun
That's pretty
fact,
cool.
Back in the day, they
actually.
worked in an office space in something called the bullpen.
Okay.
That's where they wrote and drew all their comics.
Okay. That makes sense.
A little tidbit of history
That
doesn't
would
really
be
matter,
pretty cool.
but it is
And
kind
it's
of
like,
interesting.
Right, and you're just writing yourself into a comic.
Yeah. Oh, they used to do that all the time back in
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
They put themselves in the comic books.
There's a 2-panel story called "What If You Were Spider-Man."
Ooh.
The second panel then says, "You'd be dead. You're no superhero."
Damn.
What if you were Spider-Man?
It'll let me on the screen.
Dude,
for the
I'm
YouTuber.
covering that shit. Dude, I'm covering that story.
How are you gonna make that into anything more than like a 10-second?
Because that's the point. It's going to be like this little 10-second video. It's like, all right, guys, so what I want to do here is I wanted to cover the story that Marvel released where it's what if you became Spider-Man. And the story is that you wouldn't be Spider-Man, you'd be dead. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.
Okay, maybe I'm just not understanding.
Dude, it's your
why,
April Fools.
I'm going to do that. Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
if I became why would you just die?
Because you're not a superhero. That's the plot.
Yeah, but now you're Spider-Man, right?
Well,
Yeah,
I
but you
guess,
don't-
I
but you
guess you're
don't-
not nearly as good as him.
Yeah, you don't know how to survive.
Not on the Front Range of Colorado. I mean, there's nothing.
What would you web onto?
I mean, exactly.
That's like in the movie
Go to-
Homecoming where he goes into the park and he's like, shit.
Exactly. I would not live here. First off, I'd move.
At least to Denver.
Denver.
Yeah.
But 3 swings and you're like, you're done.
And I'm back in Northern Colorado.
Yeah.
How the hell
You're
that?
just circling the center of Denver because there's like 5 tall buildings.
That would be insane.
Yeah.
All right, what if Thor had battled between Conan?
I never even heard of that.
Apparently, there was a battle between the two. The story, the battle between Conan and Thor makes sense given their similar ancient swords and sandals backstory. The fight between Conan and Wolverine has much higher stakes. I guess they end up fighting in the same book. The story ends with Wolvie and Conan swapping places, and Wolverine gets to live out his life fighting armies and hooking up with Red Sonja, whereas Conan's presence in the X-Men universe results in the Dark Phoenix destroying all of reality.
Wow.
Hey,
Jesus.
unforeseen
Conan, man, what did you
consequences.
do?
He's a barbarian. In
What do
the
you think
modern
he
age.
did?
Did he like force himself on Jean and then she just snapped and wiped? You know, it's like, oh my God, I've been victimized, so I got to obliterate the universe. Like, that's insane, man. Jesus. I don't even know if I want to read the story to find out what Conan did.
By my stars and garters, I don't know either.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I'm okay passing that story up.
What if Namor grew up on land with his human father?
Huh.
Apparently, it leads to underwater Nazis.
How?
The story features Namor, the submariner, and the Prince of Atlantis growing up on land amongst the humans and his sea captain father. The absence of Namor in Atlantean history proves cataclysmic, as the Nazis are able to take over Atlantis for themselves and use it as a base for world domination.
That's right. That was the origin. That Namor the Submariner originally, like when the Nazis were using U-boats and they were exploring, magical artifacts, they stumbled across Atlantis. Namor the Submariner defeated them and then joined Captain America, Bucky Barnes, and Jim Hammond to form the Invaders.
Yes.
That was the whole basis behind that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if the Fantastic Four were cosmonauts?
Russian astronauts?
Yes. So apparently they come back as USSR. It's kind of like Red Sun, apparently. Reed, known as Rudon, and sees his usual teammates replaced with Colossus and his sister Magic, along with Black Widow. And the Force of Travel gains some powers, and Reed himself gaining the ability to shoot his limbs off in different directions. Boom!
Dude, that's badass. No, dude, I would love to see
Very
that.
useful though. You're like, you shoot your fist into someone's face. That part is cool.
Yeah.
But then you have to retrieve it, right?
Does it automatically come back?
I mean,
That's true.
hang
that
on,
would
let
be
me go
really,
get my
like,
arm.
or is it like, hey, Rob, throw me my arm?
Yeah, like,
we're good.
like what if you miss?
Yeah.
You got
one more
You
shot.
gotta walk like a football field to get your arm.
Or,
You're like, "Hold on,
or,
everybody,
or do you
stop."
have 10 shots? Can you finger launch? Pew, pew, pew.
Dude, that would actually be cool. Dude, I would do that. I would shoot fingers off of
Okay,
people.
would that
Maybe
hurt?
launch your nose.
Would that hurt?
Pew.
Would that hurt or would it just be annoying?
Stop it. Stop it.
stop.
You're just poking me.
Gross.
I mean, dude, I would do it
Yeah.
just to annoy the shit out of people.
Yeah.
Can you imagine launching your nose, though? I had a cold that day, Rob.
People would keep your appendages just
You
out of
fling
like
your
anger.
ears like...
Yeah. Like, sorry,
Oh,
Benny,
no.
you're not getting this back.
Oh yeah, dude. If I were like a human being and I was walking around and I found out that like Russian Reed Richards could do that, like I would keep it as a souvenir and box it and just be like Reed Richards' finger.
You get him
And,
to
like,
launch
just-
off his other appendage. You're just like, ha!
Yeah.
I have Russian Reed Richards.
other appendage.
Remember. Yes.
You keep it in a box.
That would really kind of beg the
the
question of
shelf.
like what happens when Reed gets it on with like Black Widow and like he gets to the point of completion? Like, does it blow off? That's.
It's like a mini rocket.
I mean, that's my question. He just blows it off. That would
Okay.
suck. Yeah, it's just stuck in there.
It gives a whole new meaning to the term "blow your load."
Yeah. Just blow right off.
I get a feeling we just lost the camera over there.
What?
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh. It might actually
Just now, I just
It
watched
might
it.
just be the field monitor.
Okay.
Oh.
But either way, I can just.
Yeah, we're still good.
Okay.
Okay.
With the hilarious part about that whole thing would be that I have a feeling Dylan's got to do some choice censoring right here. But whatever.
I mean, you know, Dylan, just, you know,
Do your thing.
do your thing.
Just cut to me reacting, and I think you're safe.
Just Benny in the
Yeah.
background going on about
You
numbers.
just carry. What if the invaders had stayed together after World War II?
Huh. I mean, I never really cared that much about the invaders, but what would happen?
They'd be they stick together to battle leftover Nazis, aided by a replacement Captain America and a Bucky gifted to them by Harry Truman. The invaders manage a multi-decade career, staying long enough to save JFK from assassination robots, thus avoiding the tragic robot murder of the president that occurred in our own timeline. In our version of the Marvel timeline, did JFK get killed by murderous robots?
I don't know.
I want you to tell me that.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, JFK's assassination by murderous robots explained. I don't know.
I want you to look that up for me.
How did JFK die in Marvel Comics? I guess. Honestly, I don't really care.
That sounds
enough to-
like they're like an actual good video right there. How did
But-
JFK die in Marvel Comics?
Isn't it that kind of a sensitive topic to like cover in a comic though?
You-
To like change and I don't know.
I mean, okay.
Did you miss the one earlier?
I know. This is
Yeah, I mean, we
This
got
is
Nazi
comics we're
Captain
talking
America
about,
throwing
yeah.
black folks in internment camps.
I guess
Locking up the colored folks, man.
Nothing's
They
off limits.
rebelling.
Yeah, nothing's off
gotta
limits,
lock
I
'em
guess,
up.
so.
What? Okay. What would be worse, Captain America locking you up, or Captain America denying you superpowers?
Denying me superpowers? I want superpowers, bitch. I want super strength. I want super
Then you
speed.
can lock me up all you want. I'll break out.
I would genuinely be upset. It's like, all right, everybody, like it's like you're all standing in a line, and it's
Yeah.
like me and like 4 other white folks, and it's like, all right, and like you get a super soldier serum, and they go down the line, then they get to me, and it's like, you don't get one.
It's like
and then just
it's like not getting Jello in the lunch line.
That's exactly
Like,
it.
You got Jello.
we're all
You got
out of
What
Jello.
if they tried to hide it though? They're like, here you go, and we appear to be out.
No,
It's right there. I could see it. It's right there.
No, I'd snatch it out of their hand and be like, give me that shit, bitch. It's my super soldier serum. Like, they come running after me, like, no, and I'm like running away, injecting it into myself. I'm like, I got superpowers, bitch. Yes. And now I just like run super fast to get away. Because I don't want a whole bunch of superpowered white folks trying to track me down.
Okay,
That
but
superpowered white folks
Yeah.
that track me down.
No way, man. No, sir.
This is potentially the most racist episode of the
think
RnBe.
so.
I'm just saying, man. You got like white folks
Yeah.
with Captain America's powers.
what's the point? I mean, okay, so in America, everybody has superpowers. Ideally, if it went right, but only in America. So you're leaving out the rest of the world.
There's a story called Earth X where everybody in the world gets powers.
There's just a level playing field.
Yeah, then it collapses
it-
into absolute madness and
Okay,
destruction.
well, that's true. Yeah.
It gets bad.
You ready for the finale? We did all 20.
Sure.
Oh, did we?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What if the world knew that Daredevil was blind?
Yeah,
Apparently,
doesn't it turn into a thing where like everybody races to take him out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. Spider-Man makes fun of him in his costume, and his enemies have different ideas, devising ways
I
to
didn't
use
know
his
that
blindness.
people didn't know that.
No, no one knows that.
Nobody knows that he's actually
Yeah, no one knows.
blind.
Well,
Okay.
maybe like one like Tony Stark knows.
A few of
Because
his allies.
Superior- yeah,
do.
Superior
I think
Iron Man
Blind
gave him
Spot
the sight
knows.
back.
The people
Because he
that-
just had the sidekick
wait.
thing with him.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Blind
But
Spot's
apparently, in the end, it's all pointless because he just gets his eyesight back.
Yeah.
So
Oh no! Wait a minute.
How?
Did Iron Man figure out he was blind in Superior Iron Man?
yes, and he cured it, and then
No,
he
no,
turned
no,
it away.
no. I know he cured it, but did he figure out he was blind, or did he already know he was blind? I can't remember.
I think he already knew. I think it's known amongst the superhero community.
I know that what's his name, the reporter, Ben Urich knows he's blind, and
Right.
he knows. And he knows.
I
his
think the
identity.
superhero community knows for the most part.
Okay, I can't.
Like
remember.
his close friends. Anyway, though, it's all pointless because in the end he gets his eyesight back, getting rid of his superpowers, reveals his identity to the world, retires from superheroics, marries Karen Page, and as this writer put it, it's one of the most boring endings to a what if tale ever.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Guy marries a heroin addicted porn star and then retires.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why
Karen,
did they put
Karen
that in the
Page,
TV show?
She had a rough history.
Why wasn't that in the TV show?
Well, she said like she made past mistakes.
And they just left it at that. Yeah.
They left it at that.
I
yeah.
would have much preferred. I was a porn star.
There was
Here's my tapes.
I can't remember what story it was. I want to say it was Born Again, although I don't think it was. But there's one point where Karen Page, because she leaves, she goes to Hollywood. She ends up having to do porn, and she's like addicted to heroin, so she does porn to support her heroin habit. And then like she's like a hardcore addict. She sells the identity of Matt Murdock to some guy who sells it to Kingpin. And then Kingpin uses that and like ousts Daredevil's identity, I think.
Side note, before we end this episode.
I want to say that was the case.
Did you know Pokemon Go has another update?
Really?
Yeah.
They're still updating that game?
Apparently.
Thought they gave up on it. Everybody else did. Oh.
Different Pokemon may appear in parks around you. Thank you, Pokemon Go.
Huh.
Great. Still not playing you.
Yeah. It's too cold outside to play that shit.
Yeah.
I don't live in LA. Like, this is Los Angeles or Phoenix, sure.
So yeah, there you go. It was a shorter episode, handled in a more of a discussion style. This is a filler while Rob and I are over at Emerald City Comic Con with Gary. I didn't forget you. Yep. But if you want to chat with Rob, you can find him over on his channel, Comics Explained. You can also find him on Twitter at Comics Explained. I was going to say Comicstorian.
Comicstorian. Follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian.
Oddly enough, I have the Comics Explained on Twitter. You're watching this on my channel, then you know. Subscribe. Check out more every Saturday. Gary's at GaryCam4 on Twitter. And if you wanted to watch this live, we film it every Thursday morning. We film multiple RnBes, multiple discussions. We film a bunch of things.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the end of this episode of the RnBe. We'll see you next week.
Peace.